Welcome back to Bikes with Ben. I've been doing this series on all of Shimano's 12-speed mountain bike lineup. We had the shifters, we had derailleurs, we had cassettes, we had cranksets, and chains. Covered basically everything in the full kind of drivetrain, except for the bottom bracket, which isn't really part of the drivetrain, but it does help your drivetrain move. I don't know where that line is officially drawn, but what I found with Shimano bottom brackets is that you should say your prayers now and just hope for the best, because it is a crapshoot. And I don't know why. I've done a lot of research for all of these other videos I've gone through and am pretty familiar with all of Shimano's back-end kind of specs website. I sort through all their charts. I make my own Excel versions of all this stuff using their charts and trying to track down all the information on all the different websites, the marketing documents, the technical literature, all that stuff. Typically I can find an answer. With bottom brackets, I cannot find, I don't know the difference. I bought all three of them. Well, I bought 3 of the, I don't know, 8 at least, because I can't find a difference on these things. So all Shimano says, I have it here in my handy dandy little Excel sheet I made, I'll post it in the description. Between the BB52, the MT500, the MT501, the MT800, the MT801, the BB80, and the BB93, so 7 different bottom brackets, all Hollowtech 2, all threaded, all good for 68 to 73 millimeter width. The difference, well, they're all aluminum and anodized, except for the BB52 that's painted aluminum. They all have a resin or aluminum spacer, and they all have a couple different weights. Oh wait, hold on. The BB93, it has small ball bearing. Yeah, obviously this $50 one should be better than this $18 one. And then this $45 one should be as good as this $50 one. I really don't understand. For those of you not familiar, and this is a long intro to not have explained this yet, but a bottom bracket, at least a Hollowtech 2 bottom bracket. So this is always the bottom bracket, right? This is where your pedals are going to go through. This is just part of my downhill, or part of my trail bike. So I needed to replace this bottom bracket. This is the the BB52. This is the lowest tier one that Shimano has. And I think it's in the $15 range, something like that. So there's not much to these things. It's a housing. It's 2 housings. You know, you've got a drive side and a non-drive side housing. And then you've got 2 bearings in here that your crankset rides against. And then you've got a spacer in between that connects the 2 halves together, the 2 housings together. That's all you have. There are a few little shims that you click in here. But how much better could one thing be than another? You could have different materials for the outer housing that holds the bearing in there, right? So those are all aluminum, anodized, except for the 52 is painted. You could have better sealed bearings and more precise bearings and more precisely machined balls and inner races and better grease. You know, there's a lot that can go into a bearing, right? And even the non-Shimano versions of this, the Cane Creek makes one, Raceface might make one. You know, there's other third-party versions of the Hollowtech 2 bottom bracket. Hollowtech 2 meaning that the Hollowtech 2 crankset goes through it. It's just Shimano's kind of mountain bike bottom bracket technology. They're $150, $120, the third-party option. So you've got a $16 one here, a $45 one here, $50 one here. That's Shimano's highest end. And then you've got $125, $150 ones from third parties. All for what is, let's see, that. So this is the lowest, this is the cheapest one you can get. The, well, maybe not. This is the MT501. So the BB52 is the lowest end. Not sure if it's really the cheapest or not, but the lowest end. Second from the lowest end. And then you'll open up your MT800. And these come not fully assembled for some reason. Not that there's much to assemble here, but they've got different packaging. So you've got in this tube a pre-greased, all super messy version of essentially that same thing. And we step up a notch then to the BB93, the creme de la creme. And what do we have? Spacers for each. But I know you can't see this very well. Let's get these back here. What is the difference between these three guys? Well, all the same width, all the same height. The diameters look a little different. Can you see them? Yeah, look at that. This one's a little bit bigger. Does the standard tool work on it? So we've got a Hollowtech 2 little tool here. Does not. Does not. Oh, and it does. Does this side. Hey, the BB 9000 side of my bike hand. Wait. You gotta be kidding me. Okay, so we found a difference. I'm proud of us. Hold on, I'm gonna move this camera a little bit closer to the table here. What we found, the Hollowtech 2 tool. You would think would work with all Hollowtech bottom brackets. Works here, doesn't work here, doesn't work here. The BB 9000 side of this tool, not sure what, bracket BB 9000 really is, but that fits great on the BB 93 bracket here for Shimano. It does not fit on the MT800, and neither does the Hollowtech. So, does the, let's see, a lot of times what you'll find is these little adapters like for, no, that's gonna be way too big. Well, so this is a removal tool adapter for a center lock disc brake. So what's on my other bike here. So that does fit on there nice and snug. That's the same profile. Obviously too big, way too big. So is that the only difference? So this is a real just kind of talking back and forth, trying to figure this out because I'm hoping somebody else can tell me the difference. I assume there's a better bearing in here versus in here versus in here. How good can a bearing be? You can have sealed bearings. You can have better, I don't know, tolerances or smoother races, whatever it is, better balls. To a point, that could make a $15 cost $50. I would get that. I would see that. I don't know what the third-party ones are doing. That one's kind of lost on me. But what I can say is Shimano is doing a terrible job at telling you what the differences of these guys are. How was I supposed to know what tool each of these use when I'm buying it? I mean, on their website, I'm here now. Even the difference between a MT800 and an MT801. On their product info page, there is not a single difference. Well, hold on, there's a difference. The MT800, average weight, 84 grams. The MT801, 83 grams. We did it. We figured it out. It says it's a Hollowtech 2, bottom bracket, threaded. That's all I got. I don't understand. I would have thought this was simple. How complicated could this be? This is turned into one of the most confusing videos that I've made just because I could not get any good information. One fun little aside. Look how cool this, let's see, can I get a good video out there? Good. The gel in here is like, not the gel, the grease is like super packed in here. Hold on, let's do this. Oh yeah. It's like sprayed on there with a robot arm. Looks cool as hell. The other ones, just for comparison, just kind of circular, not as cool. So, in that regard, cheap one, kind of winning already. What else do I know about these? Well, my budget polygon came with the BB52, the even cheaper than the MT501, and I believe, yes, it works with the Hollowtech 2 tool. The common saw behind me here, it came with the MT, I think it's this one here, the MT800. Can't get it off because I don't have the right tool. I don't know. I really don't. They're the same through-hole size. Obviously, you're a little bit lighter. 83 grams on the MT800, 73 grams on the BB93, and unclaimed weight on the MT500. Definitely heavier. It's got a bigger outside. I mean, smaller housing, bigger housing, lighter. Why did I have to buy all three of these to find out what the differences are? I mean, I still don't know the bearings difference. I'll have to tear these apart and find out. I think what I'm going to end up doing is just chucking this one on the bike, riding it till I feel it needs replaced, chucking a new one on the bike, riding it till I feel it needs replaced, and seeing if I get different lifespans out of these guys, and taking these apart once they do die. I don't want to ruin brand new stuff. Also, like this one here, the BB52, this one I can barely turn. See if we can hear it. Nope. No, you can't hear it. They're crunchy. They're not doing too good. But I've got, you know, a year and a half, 2 years of riding on that thing without changing it once. So it's kind of locked on there. I couldn't get it off. I need to get some good grease on these things before I really tighten it up to make sure, you know, some anti-seize. But sorry, this isn't as informative as my normal videos. But it's more informative than going to Shimano's website. That's for damn sure. If anybody knows anything about these, there is a lot more to bottom brackets. Let me preface this with that. This is not which bottom bracket should you use or what's the best one. If you have a carbon type bike, you definitely have a, well, not definitely, you probably have a press-in style bottom bracket, and Shimano makes a whole line for that. If you have a different, you know, older bikes, the BB30, I think was a press-in for my old Cannondale. I'm not even sure what any of my gravels ride. So this is not, I don't know that much about bottom brackets. But what I know is that typically when I want to dive into something, I can go to Shimano's website, I can go to the manufacturer's website, I can dig into the technical specifications of everything, and I can get an answer. And I should be able to get an answer. I mean, if I want to replace this thing, I just have to replace it with the one I already have. Or I'm going to risk not having the tool to make it happen, or who knows what else I'm not going to risk, or who knows what else I'm going to risk by buying a different or an upgraded part when I want to work on this thing. Because number one, don't have the tool. Number two, what if these were slightly different and for some reason it wouldn't fit on my bike? I needed a different spacer. I needed a different type of, you know, axle. I shouldn't need that, but it's making me question things. I should know what I'm buying when I'm buying it. If they're not going to put it on their marketing page, they should put it in the technical literature. If they're going to have technical literature, it should be correct and accurate and make sense. And it just really peeves me when I do all the work and I dive in and I figure everything out that they'll give me, and it still doesn't answer my question. Not one place did I find that these were going to each take a different tool. Not one place did I find anything about these other than maybe some of them tell you their average weight, and some of them tell you, well, I mean, they all tell you what width they should work on. I don't know. This is more just me complaining at this point. I also don't know their numbering schemes. An SM BB93 or a BB, it's an SM-BB93 or a BB-MT800 or an SM-BB52 over there or an SM-BB-MT500. Who knows? It's not transparent at all. It doesn't make any sense. There was something else I wanted to mention with this too that was ticking me off. What was it? Oh, yeah, I know what it was. So, typically, I don't know if you've, my other videos, you probably figured this out, but in their product numbers, you will have a 6, 7, 8, or 9, and that typically is 6 is Dior, 7 is SLX, 8 is Dior XT, and 9 is XTR. So that is like, you'll have like a bottom, or a shifter will be, you know, SH-8102, whatever it is. The 8 means XT. The 9 means XTR. So they have that branding typically, except for an SM-BB93. It has the 9. It is XTR. It's got full XTR branding on the box. They've got the BB-MT800. It is Hollowtech too, but there is no other XT branding on the box at all. It's just a MT800. Now, it does say on this sticker, I bought these off Amazon, but this sticker here does say BB or Shimano XT bottom bracket, but Shimano themselves don't have any literature of that or any marketing of that in the box. And then you've got the MT501. They'll use 5 a lot for Dior older stuff or Dior 11 speed versus 12 speed, different things like that. So, you know, this is a Dior part. There's nothing Dior about it. So, and I don't think even on the back of this one does it say Dior anywhere. I don't know. Shimano, if you're watching this, help. I don't know. Be more clear. Make things make sense. Which one should I use? Which is the better one? When should I use a certain one? Is one better rated for downhill? They do have a enduro specific one, I think. Well, I don't know if it's a BB80, somewhere in the middle here. It's gold color, and the only reason I think it's more for downhill stuff is it says Gold for Saint, and it's heavy. So I'm guessing it's built for their downhill lineup of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, this video is not just as grand as, you know, I'm not my peachy, keen, happy-go-lucky self that I normally am in these videos. So I'm going to try to put this on my bike. I need to put this whole thing back together. Never installed a bottom bracket, so it can't be that hard. I think I'm going to put the 801 on here, or sorry, the BB93 on here, and we'll see how it rides. I'm sure it's just fine. I'm sure none of these feel any different right out of the gate. They're all going to feel different over time. It's going to be how well these bearings are sealed and how well these bearings are protected and how well they'll last against the elements in the ride. So, yeah. Hopefully you got something interesting out of this video. Hopefully it wasn't a complete waste of your time. But if not, hey, that's just more people listening to my ramblings so that my wife doesn't have to. And she will thank you personally if you ask her to, I'm sure. Till next time, do some research on bottom brackets and get back to me with your findings. And if some other brand has a more descriptive and accurate and easier to follow bottom bracket guide, let me know. I'd love to try them out. Thanks for watching, guys.